I'm going to start off with a question. What's your favorite pizza place?
Papa John's.
I'll agree with you there. But there's one place special. Comet Ping Pong Pizza. I can't say it fast. Comet Ping Pong is a hot spot. That's where all the nice, cool bands go. The popular bands. The
number one billboarding chart bands like Sex Stains.
Seriously, like
there was one
all ages allowed. Oh, this is a video about... I'm making a video about something else. We're talking about the bands, how awful they are. I want to talk about Twitter and a recent thing that's been going on. People were saying they were getting suspensions on Twitter for just posting about Pizzagate or...
John Podesta.
John Podesta.
Basically, people are saying that if you tweet about basically any Podesta, that you can get a suspension, and then if you do not delete the tweet, you get a ban.
It seems like anything that's not positive towards John Podesta or even has that hashtag Pizzagate, it violates some secret terms of service or it triggers...
Them deleting anything relevant to that is just making them look more guilty. Like, if it didn't exist, then they wouldn't delete it.
If you start blocking people from talking about a certain thing that has nothing to do with... nothing illegal... Not talking about selling drugs, not talking about murdering someone. It's not hate speech. It's mostly questioning a certain somebody about a certain situation. So why censor these people at all? Why give them suspensions, which happened to me because I put out an innocent tweet saying John Podesta may be affiliated with Brian Podesta and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. I misunderstood people. I thought they said for mentioning Brian Podesta, you would receive a suspension. So I put up a tweet for 24 hours.
You just put Brian Podesta.
for 24 hours, I just put Brian Podesta. Nothing happened. I tweeted at John Podesta, affiliated with Brian Podesta. You know, I said that. Nothing happened. But it took 2 days. Randomly, I checked my Twitter because I don't go on Twitter that much. I don't even have a following. I just follow some news and I just check it every once in a while. And I try to go on Twitter and lo and behold, I have a lockout on my account. I can't go in. And I'm like, huh? I'm like, oh snap. I really did get banned for this. So I go see what did I get locked out for. It's that tweet I put out. What everyone's saying is absolutely true. You do get punished for mentioning either it's not tweeting at John Podesta because there's tons of people every day tweeting at John Podesta that don't get removed. It's the fact...
It's because you put Brian Podesta with it. Because you said at John Podesta.
I did tweet at John Podesta and I did mention Brian Podesta, but I also put... See, I didn't put hashtag Pizzagate. I didn't mention Pizzagate.
You didn't have to.
I didn't have to,
You know
exactly.
They have a hidden agenda.
I just said Brian Podesta, John Podesta, and the NCMES, or MEC, and I said it all adds up. And then 2 days later, ban.
Can you tell me why, out of the blue, John Podesta had to post about actual pasta? You don't do that stuff unless you're guilty.
He just wanted to make himself look not guilty for talking about pasta in the emails. Again, I don't want to get into the emails because... That's too much.
That's a whole nother story.
That's way too much to talk about now. That's too much. And it goes beyond John Podesta.
Skippy Molesta is also getting banned, probably, because she's had so many suspensions.
I saw a post that someone had made linking to that video, whether it was herself or someone else, a video that she had started sharing on Twitter about the World Corp videos going around that people were suggesting were John Podesta himself basically torturing a child.
He was singing the Caillou song, the theme song, and he said, "I'm John Podette," and then it cut off. So
maybe someone did an actual smear campaign. Maybe someone out there actually is trying to frame him and did this whole elaborate thing. But who again would be that sick to take a child and put him in that situation? Because that, even if it was acting, that child was screaming for its life.
It does not matter if it's acting or art, which neither of those it should be categorized as. You do not take a child in. Especially a child that little, you don't put the MK Ultra lights in it, you don't beat the shower with a broomstick, because regardless of what you think it is, that's going to terrify the child.
It's sick. Honestly,
I feel like John Podesta's going to die. Yeah, they're all guilty, but he now has video proof, well, I'm going to say hard evidence that it was him and that he's a part of that, so they got to kill him.
Who would go out and find a man that sounds almost identical to John Podesta? Who would...
But tell me, why would they want John Podesta framed in the first place?
Hey, Lynn Rothschild called him out, called him an absolute loser, and basically for failing Hillary Clinton. And
so it's Hillary's people then? Cause
who knows? I don't want to get into that now, because that, again, is something totally different. This is we're going from one conspiracy to the next.
We're going from Twitter banning to Hillary's people.
It's going from Twitter to pedophiles.
Unless Twitter is completely cucked by the left, then I see no reason why they're going to ban people for saying certain things, because what happened to the First Amendment?
There is guidelines and there is rules. Obviously, you can't be giving death threats. You can't be racist. You can't be all that stuff. Obviously.
Meanwhile, on Facebook, there's gifs of men blowing their heads off on aesthetic pages, or people getting their ankles crushed and all that shit.
No, that's true. It's something that, again, what I posted, I didn't even put the hashtag Pizzagate. All I mentioned was the Missing Children organization.
And Brian and
John Podesta. I only mentioned them, and I hashtagged the Missing Children organization, and it gets taken down. Why? Why would those... What if I actually had a question for John Podesta and said, what can you do to help so-and-so, the Missing Children organization? What can you do to help? Would that have been taken down? Because I don't want to keep putting these tweets out.
People that are guilty cannot even be asked a question.
They even said it themselves. Some of these people... who was it? Paul Bonacci. He said it himself. It's high, rich, powerful, influential people that you just cannot touch. They're too powerful.
They have control over the police department.
The police department are afraid to get involved with these things.
Control over them as in they're higher up.
Yeah.
They're on a different level.
They are. Ever since, I'm not going to say this is thanks to Trump, but ever since Trump took office, over 1,000 arrests have been made in correlation to pedophile networks. Around the world.
Because Trump, thankfully, is not like the people that were in office. I'm not going to say all Democrats are like that, but the Democratic people. And ever since he was in office, he's not going to take that shit.
Literally, not even a week later, pedophile rings are getting busted. So Twitter, it's not a free place. They do not promote free speech. Of course you can't go on Twitter and say...
Every free speech nowadays has a limit. But then you have people like Milo getting banned for what? Not even attacking
criticizing, people. Is her name Leslie Jones? The black chick from Ghostbusters? That was an awful movie. It was awful.
Regardless of whatever. It's awful. If I wanted a Ghostbusters remake, I would want it to be like the original. But they had to put women in it. We're getting off topic again.
This stays on topic. This goes on. This is why.
This is talking about the Milo situation, not...
But it involves Twitter. He was banned. That was the icing on the cake.
It just shows that they're cucked.
Twitter.
It shows that they're covering up and they're on a certain side. Did you know that it's National Women's Day? Did you know that you're transphobic? And it's like, excuse me?
The problem with Twitter is, though, I didn't mention anything racist. I didn't threaten anybody.
That's my
even
point
talk
to
about
why
a conspiracy.
I said they're guilty, because if they weren't guilty, they would have just left it as a tweet like anybody else is. And I'm no offense, but you're not big or anything. And if they're coming after people that aren't big...
I have 25 followers.
Tweet about something that doesn't even... What?
25 followers, and I got only 2 retweets on that, and like 5 favorites. Oh, if this word is mentioned with this word...
There's no way they could have just made a rule book for Twitter and said, if you say Brian Podesta with John Podesta, then you're out, buddy.
Look.
I could sign up right now for Twitter. Just post Brian and John Podesta and something about Pizzagate, and I'll get banned.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to delete it. I'll get banned.
No, it's awful, and what are you trying to do? That's the big question I want to.
What I don't understand is how is you deleting as many tweets as you can about that topic going to stop anybody from questioning anybody from knowing the truth?
It's going to make people want to know why even more. People are going to question it even more.
Like I said, they're making themselves look more guilty, and it's just pure ignorance.
Again, I did not have... If you could use this excuse. We don't want anything related to PTA or Pedogate because it's talking about pedophiles and we don't want that on our network.
But nobody's mentioning that, are they?
Some people do, but I could say in my instance, I did not. Exactly. I did not mention Pizzagate. I did not mention pedophiles.
That confirms that the people that are talking about pedophiles... The people that are talking about pedophiles are getting banned, right? You didn't mention anything about pedophiles, but you still mentioned the same people, meaning that has to mean that they're dealing with pedophilia. If they're not just having the same views as the sick people in the pedophile rings, then they're being paid and bribed like they were around the protests to delete stuff that has anything to do with their name. Because they know that they're guilty.
No, yeah. Again, my whole main thing about this video, what are you trying to hide? What are you covering up? What are you hiding? You will not be censoring. You will not be trying to remove these tweets. Basically locking my account. The only way I could get access to my account again is if I do remove that tweet.
Because they know that anybody who's curious about this stuff can spread it. And anybody who can spread it can get them in trouble for it.
Why? Why are you hiding? I'm not actually looking. I'm not actually... Because we don't have the answer for that. We don't have the answer to that. Because why would you do that? Again, I did not mention pedophiles. I did not mention Pizzagate. I didn't mention Pedogate. I didn't mention any of that. I mentioned John Podesta, Brian Podesta, exploited children, and missing children at work. If you don't have something to hide, if there is nothing to cover up, if there is no Pizzagate, if there is no Pedogate, if no one is a pedophile, if children aren't actually going missing and you're responsible for it, why?
None of this would even be existing. It wouldn't be even a big deal. It would just be another conspiracy theory on the internet.
It's gonna get worse from this point on. Again, for people like me that don't even mention pedophiles or Pizzagate itself, people who are actually getting banned.